Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager, and she's here, my favorite redhead, Katrin Becker. Katrin, how are you today?
I'm fabulous, Michael. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I know after you were just picking on me off camera. I mean that was classic. I gotta love it. So we're going to talk a little bit about communication styles. I'm not even going into there where we were talking about before because I think you were so correct. Let's talk about communication styles. I want to go left brain, right brain, and how as leaders do we need to take that into consideration when we communicate with our team?
It's really super duper important, and there's so many different personality assessments and communication style
Mm-hmm.
assessments and different things that break it into like multiple quadrants. But if we look at it at the highest level, we're separating it into the left brain and into the right brain. And
Mm-hmm.
to kind of make sure that everyone knows what that means and to level set a little bit, the left brain thinkers tend to be much more analytical, much more methodical, and less emotion driven, where those who are more right brain really come more from the emotional side of things. It's a lot less linear, taking swoops and turns, and can be thought of as being more on the creative side, is another way to think of it. But what I found really interesting and why I wanted to talk about this is a week or so ago, I was at a conference with 700 different people, and they all were students of this person putting on the event who talks about left brain thinkers and right brain thinkers all the time and how you need to adjust your style and who you're dealing with to each one of these people. And so I did a little experiment because I went and intentionally met new people every time. Like I sat in a different place in the morning versus the evening, different lunches and dinners, like really trying to expand my network and talking to people. And in this experiment, I asked them at the end, so based on our conversation, based on our action, what do you think I am? Do you think I'm a left brainer or a right brainer? And what I was finding is that the people were recognizing in themselves things they saw in me. So if that person was a left brain thinker, they would think I was a left brain thinker. And if they were a right brain thinker, they would think I was a right brain thinker. So it was just really interesting to see that people that know the difference and think in those terms still weren't able to identify the kind of differences between the two. And so it was a really fascinating sort of thought experiment, and something that I think is really important for business owners and team leaders and managers and supervisors to not ascribe their own personal traits to that of their team.
Well, I was talking to a guest earlier today. I was listening to a thing on leadership landmines, and you could step on a landmine there, can't you? If you make that assumption, if you assume, we know what that means, right?
Yes, we all know what assuming means, and you can step on landmines. You can end up saying the wrong thing and getting people into situations where they don't necessarily feel comfortable in there. So what I would really encourage everyone to do is to take a step back and really look at their team and at their people. And this can even go to the customers and your clients, the people that you're serving, because it's all about communication and how we interact with somebody. And it can be as simple as small language changes. Like, for instance, when I'm working with clients, like if I can identify that that person is a left brain thinker, I will ask them, what do you think about a certain topic? I will use the word think because that is their main mode of communicating. And if it's a right brain thinker, I'll say, what do you feel? Or how do you feel about this? Because they come from a more emotional place. So it's really about identifying the other person. And I want to make sure that everyone I'm interacting with feels seen and heard. And those slight changes in language can really bring that bond closer. So if you're in a place where you need to build rapport very quickly, it's a really great skill to have.
Well, how do I do that without just sitting there in this conversation looking at you? Because I think one of the things that people they make the biggest mistake is they listen to respond, not
Yes.
listen to hear. And now I'm kind of like going, okay, I got to listen to hear, but I also got to listen to respond because I don't want to tick you off or I don't want to make it uncomfortable in this communication. How do we do that?
A really great trick for that, especially if it's your natural inclination to listen to respond first, is one trick that you can do is intentionally listen to hear. And then when the person, it's your turn to speak, you can repeat back what it is that you heard. And while you're saying that, you're going to increase the level of connection that you have with the other person because they're going to feel like, oh my gosh, they were really listening. And then that few moments that you're taking gives you time to think about, okay, now how would I going to respond to this? Because you've already heard it twice now.
Well, you're already assuming that I can, walk and chew gum at the same time, and get through there. But it really is, as leaders in getting into where we got to go, we've got to be able to take this into consideration. And I think we get in the landmine as leaders, is we try to respond sometimes like we're responding to us. And I've always been told you got to become a chameleon as where you're going. You got to be able to blend into not the surroundings, but the person you're communicating with, their surroundings and what they feel, they think, and how they react. How do you, do you agree with that? Do you don't agree with that? How do you look at that as a leadership style?
I completely agree with it, but here's where it gets a little bit sticky because there's such a fine line between authenticity and coming, as your authentic self. And so a lot of times that can be misinterpreted as I need to be me, but it's being so rooted in yourself and you think of it as roots, that you're able to bend to where the other person needs to be without losing who you are intrinsically. I know for me that it's something that I've struggled with because I'm very good at being adaptable. So my adaptability is both my greatest strength and my greatest weakness because I was able to adapt so easily and go with the flow that I would lose my sense of self and who I was because I could just be the chameleon and merge into any and every situation. So it's a balance in having that rootedness in who you are and then being able to bend rather than go with the flow.
Now that's amazing, and kind of going in there. So can you give us another communication tip or two for leaders out there that are looking to grow? Let's stay internal. I need to communicate with my team. How do I make sure I communicate internally with my team to make sure I'm heard and they're heard? Because there's times that we need to be forceful. We need to do this. We got to make sure that they understand what's going on. How do we do that correctly?
So much of the communication that we send out is usually an email form. And that's not going to be the most effective way to reach all of your people. So it's good to have a good blend of your communication style. Yes, coming in email is going to be great. You're going to get the message out there. But as a leader, maybe get on Zoom and just record yourself doing a quick video message because there's going to be those people that are going to relate much more strongly to you through video than they are through the written form. And so that allows you to have greater connection with those people. And the other thing that I would mention that's really going to help is the beauty of recognition. Most people want to be recognized. We want to be seen. And as a leader, you can take just 3 minutes to write a handwritten note to someone of just thanking them, of recognizing something that they've done. And it's the small things that we want to recognize. The big things already are going to get recognition. But when you can recognize someone for the small things, that is going to go so far to improving the culture of your team.
Yeah, I think the important thing you said is using Loom or something like that to go ahead and record short messages, because the one place I see people getting in trouble with via email and text is there's no emotion with it. We can't see it.
Right.
We don't know the emotion that it was written in, and we need to go through. And I think that's an important thing that we can do, and we can communicate that through a Loom or Zoom, that type of thing, and using that technology. So, Kat, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
The best way is through my website. It's www.optimizewe.com. You can see all the different services there that I offer, as well as the podcast I host. The most recent episodes are listed there under the media portion of the website. But let's just have a chat and see how we can work together, because there's so many different facets of what I do, and they're going to be determined on what you need. And so I love to have the conversation and make sure that it's a right-sized fit for you.
Well, that's awesome, Kat. It wouldn't be complete, me and you not talking. So the chickens are good, but the llama's just giving some trouble, huh?
Yeah, we had one of our llamas pass away, and they are herd animals. They love to be together, and so we've got a lonely llama. So we're found her a new home where she can have other llamas.
All right, we'll put him on Bumble and make sure he can find somebody, and everything will be good. All right.
I'll send you some Tinder profiles for my
llama. There we
go.
We got it. Well, thanks a lot, Kat. We'll see you next time, all right? You have a great weekend. So
You too.
This is Michael Razor here on Biz Talk TV. Hey, we'll be back with more right after this.